All right, cool. Okay. I think that we should be coming back, and if we're not, then you guys are just going to get a nice surprise. But yeah, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Storm knocked out power, or possibly just the power company sucking knocked out power for our restreamer. But we are back now. So we did Salty just kill Carrie? Nits.
I was listening to your beautiful analysis, and
okay, it looks like he had a party wipe and is currently fleeing like a scared little elf child.
He's got 4 HP. He's got 0 H 83. Okay, never mind. Need to get a sharper monitor, I guess. Yes, his red mage hanging on for dear life. Got to res the party.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we have the very astute question posed in chat of why is Allie in Marsh Cave? And the only answer I can give is I don't know.
Allie had insider information that there was a ribbon down there. No, that's not true. I'm just joking. But he did find a ribbon in there while the stream was down, and that might make this worthwhile. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, let's see. Meanwhile, we've got Broadster diving into Volcano. Zalnop was in Volcano. I didn't see if he got carry cleared out. I guess when we see an item menu, we'll know.
So a few things to catch up on.
So we have a cube. Okay, I just saw that. So it looks like cube was one of the items we got out of the royal family. And I didn't catch what the other one is, so we'll have to keep watching for that.
In other news, we've got a katana in the armory, and there was also flame armor and also opal bracelet nearby. So the Volcano is something of a trove of good gear. Plus level 3 warp available in Elfland really means that promotion only exit, not as important as we thought it might be.
Yeah, so JLo pointing out in chat, unfortunately having to forfeit, but did point out that he would probably follow the same route Zalnop seems to be taking of Volcano then Elfland. Which is a perfectly reasonable way to handle it, considering he does have the, there's not a lot in Volcano that you benefit from going the other way around, and that is a max value slab in the item shop here in Elfland.
Person hoarding it knows that it has value. They don't know what it's for, but they know it's expensive.
Let me tell you, people trying to just exploit, archaeological inquiry in the antiquities market, it's a problem, man. It is a problem.
That belongs in a museum. So do you.
But yeah, so long story short, that is something you're going to have to come back for. And hey, there was a ship in the lower levels of the Volcano. Still trying to catch Zalnop's items menu screen to find out whether or not he went ahead and took out Carrie.
Meanwhile, Bratzer also making a retreat from Volcano. It's a scary long trip, but with all the fire tiles, it's not as bad as it looks. See if we can get out of here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's something nasty down Volcano, because we've seen multiple people make that retreat. And I really am wondering if Zalnop also retreated.
Now, all of a sudden, Allie's played a Pillage Marsh. Doesn't seem so bad. Got some levels, got a ribbon. And doesn't look like he's lost a lot of ground against anyone else on stream either.
Yeah, that's very true. We do know that both Salty and Broadster are looking... Rod is the other item. Okay. So... yeah, we do know that both Salty and Broadster are looking to potentially improve their rank with this race. As it stands, they are currently the second-ranked runner on both of their teams, and that means that their score in the overall rankings does matter. For those of you who are who haven't been paying attention to the league too much or are joining us for the first time, we are operating this using a similar system to the Final Fantasy IV league, where we are using Z-score, which is basically a complex statistical calculation counting on how you fared relative to everyone else in a given race. The way we are handling this is we have both an individual rank and a team rank. The four runners you see on stream represent four different teams. Zalnop in the upper left is an independent runner. Salty Fry in the upper right is, I believe, a member of the Dream City Rebels. Ali Gerbrap in the lower right is on Team Math, and lower left is Broadster for Roadhouse. So both Salty and Broadster are currently the second-ranked members of their teams. So for the purpose of calculating team score, they matter. So they're wanting to get a better Z-score than they got in our first race a couple of nights ago, is kind of the bottom line.
Long story short, everybody's in it for something. Improving your team's average score based on the middle two people in your team, improving your own personal score. There's always something to be gained here. As long as your Z-score improves race over race, which is your standard, your number of standard deviations away from the norm if you're a stats geek, then you're going to better your score. And if it's worse, it doesn't matter because you just take your best score. So there's never a downside to getting in another race for anyone.
Exactly. But yeah, in this case, it is advantageous for folks. And Zalnop finds that ribbon that's also in Marsh Cave.
Yeah, usually the much maligned Marsh Cave, it's turning up ribbons for both Ali and Zalnop now. So that's something you didn't expect to see at the start of this race. If you'd asked me, you think anyone's diving Marsh, I would have said, but here we are.
I mean, it's such a gamble, though, because, we could very likely have a runner off stream right now who's already who's already got 2 orbs lit. That's how fast these seeds have been. Now, granted, I actually don't know if that's the case here, because trying to think of where the other incentive item. Oh, okay, that's actually a question. Where's the crown? Because Corneria is locked. The locked Corneria, I believe, is one of our incentive locations for this. With Ordeals being the other one, if I recall correctly. Nits?
Double checking the flags right now.
Thank you. Because, yeah, if that's...
Yep. Locked Corneria is incentivized, as is Ordeals. Not much else. And the main NPCs, not many more places to go to early game, right? So is there going to be a Mystic Key hiding out here somewhere?
That is a really good question. Okay. From what we can gather, Canoe, Cube, Rod, and Tail were at the easy incentive locations. None of those should have dislodged anything, right?
Correct.
So, where's the incentive location we're forgetting about? Because, oh god, this is a ship canal. They can't get anywhere else. Key's going to land an incentive spot. There's not an incentive spot available. That's probably why Ali and Zalnop are diving Marsh, and why Salty's in Ice.
Yeah, everybody knows they've got to find the ship and the canal now, because there's no incentive items left. Just when you think it's soft locked, the whole world opens before you. But of course, the key to unlock the whole world, that's not incentivized. Why would we do that? So no. Now you got to go digging.
So, all right. So it's got to be Ice Cave, because we've seen everyone dig out things like Volcano and Marsh already. Salty's the first person we've seen go after Ice.
Has anyone bothered to visit the dwarves? I know they only have a couple of chests. But they could have
right. Oh, no, ship was in Volcano. So we found ship. TNT is what we're looking for. Ship was in the upper left-hand treasure room on Agama floor. So TNT is almost certainly got to be in Ice Cave or at Dwarves.
That would be absolutely fantastic if it was at Dwarves. I wonder if anyone's going to bother to check.
So Shadow Walker asking in chat, we already know the vendor item is a max price slab in Elfland. So we know that progression is going to be either at Ordeals or locked behind Titan. Well, I guess it could be at Waterfall as well. All of those are open. Fortunately, well, nothing would have been in whatchamacallit anyway. So Yeah. So Mirage Tower's not on the tape. No, yeah, wait.
Based on the information we now actually have, and the stream now actually being stable, let's start over and walk through this. So we started off with a pretty easy start with Fire 2 and Quake early on. Garland wasn't much of a challenge, and there was some gold to be had in the Temple of Fiends. Then things got a little hairy from our perspective. But what we know now is we've got the Rod and the Cube and the Canoe early game, and that the ship was also available. But so far, no TNT anywhere. The ship was in Volcano, pardon me, and it had to be picked out of a loose chest, as Zelnop has just done, because it is not incentivized. We're now out of incentivized locations, and we're sort of at a dead end. So we have to go find that TNT, and we don't know where that is yet. We know it's probably in ice or in the Dwarf's Cave, because I don't think we've seen anyone go there.
Oh, God. That's Trance Wraiths and Lit 2 on I didn't quite see what has Lit 2.
You never do see what has Lit 2. So this just got ugly fast. And now it's going to be one of those real challenges to see who can overcome this nasty adversity where you kind of have a bit of a gatekeeper situation and nowhere else to go. Where do you grind? What do you do? I love these seeds because they have an early challenge, and yeah, it's going to be a brutal times, but the reality is this might be really hard for some people and will really drive up the average time. So if you can figure out a plan to get yourself through here, you could actually put up a really great Z score in a race like this.
Yeah, pretty much. So what am I saying? Yeah, so the folks who dove Marsh are actually going to have a better shot of making through this ice cave, I think. Because that ribbon might actually come into play, just in helping you survive. Because I'm not sure what has Lit 2, but I think it's fairly early on, and yeah.
Well, I think we're going to get lots of opportunities to find out. But we do have warp, so that means we can, we can check the last chest here, so we don't have to loop all the way back through to get to the final chest anyway. That's something.
Yeah, they can just make the one loop and be done with it. Yeah, it took me a moment to remember that for once we don't actually care about this chest aside from it being a chest.
You don't know that we don't care about it yet. It may well have the TNT in it.
Yeah, so I think at this point everyone's made that trip down to... Oh, there we go. TNT and Mage chest.
Just off to the side now. Is he going to try and pillage this place and get killed, or is he going to warp his way out of here?
Well, okay. Here's what I think Broadster is thinking, knowing what he now knows. There is a non-zero chance this is a Ruby required seed. Because at this point, Floater is can either be at Ordeals, Waterfall, or Sarda. Or we can have the Crown Chain back there. Vorpal and the Red Dragon chest. That's not a bad pickup.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like, why would you go through all the trouble to get that? I mean, if you had to, you could probably run your way down there and get the TNT again. You might as well throw yourself at this and try and get everything all in one fell swoop. And at least you'll learn if there's something horrible down here, you'll learn about it.
Exactly. And, Ice Cave has a lot of enemies that show up elsewhere, so it's not bad intelligence to have.
And lots of trap tiles to sample. Maybe you'll find a good grind tile that's not too hard too.
Yeah, well, so the other thing, Shadow Walker chat pointing out that this is Ruby could be required, or we could just have Floater at Waterfall. The reason I don't hate this gamble of let's go ahead and see if Ruby's down here. Floater could be at Waterfall. Floater could also be in that locked chest. In which case, now you have to worry: is the crown at Sarda? Is the Floater at Sarda? So it's a situation where I don't hate. I think there's an argument to be made both for let's go ahead, I'm here, let's see if Ruby's here, or for just going, okay, I've got my TNT, let's go hit the Waterfall, let's go hit Ordeals.
Let's go hit Carrie, says Zelnop. He's taking on the Fiend while Broadster cleans out the last couple chests in ice. See how Carrie is doing. Top left corner.
So, it's one of those things, I think we're basically looking at a coin flip, because it's either Floater's accessible or Crown is accessible, or one of them's locked in with Sarda. But what we can say at this point is it's not in Ice Cave. So
Here's swinging 6 swords with Fury. Options running out for Selma. He's been throwing out a lot of instant kill. This is just about the last kick at the can here. 23 damage, probably not going to cut it. One last ice 2. Another 38 or so.
And down he goes. That is a brutal carry.
Yeah, that's a high power carry for this point, so you know not to try that again without much better gear or more levels.
Yeah, Ali decided to just go ahead and walk back out. I guess, that's because he has exactly 1 warp charge left.
He's got to be judicious about which floor you want to warp through. And now he's in a random encounter with only 8 HP. And he's poisoned, so if even if he doesn't lose that Black Mage, if he doesn't get out of here, he's going to die at the end of the turn. So he knows that, so he throws a couple of spells at that Cerberus. Doesn't matter. Black Mage still dead. 5 HP left on the Red Mage. Not looking great. This is the last chance to run.
I'm surprised. Yeah, I was going to say, I'm surprised he's not running there.
Well, he tried a couple times, but you lose 2 HP every round with poison, and that can kill you. That's how the Black Mage died, and he just narrowly escaped. This would be a miracle if he gets out of here.
Yeah, I think he opted to use Warp to skip the floor that's all lava, which, it's a choice to make. I guess he was trying to trim down on his limited heal supply usage.
Brotzer now checking dwarves as he goes to hand in the TNT. With success he's had, definitely now carved out a lead of our on-stream racers.
Yeah, it's one of those things. He's the only one who's been able to make that trip to Ice Cave and come out the other side. So, like you said. So, I'm going to go ahead and assume Brotzer's going to make that Ordeals play.
I also really love how he parked the ship south of the Dwarf Cave at the river. Walked across the canal, blew it up, came back across the bridge, and hopped back in the ship to sail underneath it. That is NPC shuffle only thing that could ever possibly happen, and it's just kind of cool to see.
Yeah, and chat pointing out, Ali did make it out of the volcano in one piece. He has absolutely no healing aside from his cabins, and now has to make it all the way back to Crescent, but...
He's gonna have to do yeah, he can do it with a little bit of a, boathouse kind of style. Does he have enough to save Scummit, or is he just trying to play with fire here? Also, he's poisoned the whole time, so thank goodness we're not listening to his audio.
Absolutely. I guess this explains why no one of our on-stream runners just went ahead and cleared Volcano while they were there. Volcano is brutal.
Yeah, Volcano's that trap. It's it does have a lot of chests, so you want to go there, but then you find out that, the ship is in there, sure, but the rest of it is just death with, more death behind it. You got to get away from it, and you got to go exploring. And so far, the runners that have done that have cleaned out marsh or have gotten to ice and found the TNT are now in the lead. So this is one of those sunk cost kind of things where it can be really hard to pull yourself away from a brutal dungeon, but got to do it sometimes. Yeah.
Broadster, like I said, it looks like he is going to go ahead and just hit Ordeals. With the levels he's got and the spells at his disposal, it's not I like the play. He's got a lot of fire magic, and in Ordeals, that is going to do you a lot of good.
And so begins the quest for the floater. He's got to hit the incentive locations. This one is the easiest one to get to with a ship. The next one would be, I suppose, the waterfall. And then you're not getting to Sarda without the ruby. So that would be something.
That sucker can be pretty much anywhere that's not Mirage Tower. Or the Titan's Cave. That's literally it. It is fair game anywhere else in the world. Oh, I guess, actually, no.
Yeah, it can totally be in the Mirage Tower because we've got the dock there.
Well, no, but we can't get to Lefane to translate it. We also can't get the Oxyale to get into Sea Shrine.
Ah, yes.
So
pardon me.
Ruby can only be... So actually, the Ruby's only in a handful of locations. It can be an Earth Cave. We can clear that. It can be in Waterfall or Ordeals because we can get to chests there, and that's about it.
Yeah, you have to forgive me. The vanilla NPCs for the fetch quests are something I always forget about because I'm so used to testing all the features. I almost never turn that off. But here we are. Yeah, it's sort of a fixed path for some of these.
Yeah. Now, floater is in one of the 3 incentive locations. We know that much. What we wonder is if Ruby.
If the Ruby's going to come into play, and it will if we don't get the floater here or in the waterfall.
Yeah, Shadow, I'm wondering how you're reasoning through that Sarda can't have the floater.
Well, we're about to find out if it's here, and nope.
It's the loot.
Yes, it's required. Yes, you did have to come here. That is not what he wanted to find, though. I promise you that.
Absolutely not. So I'm assuming he's heading to Waterfall next. It's convenient to where he is, and as we already established, it's the only other place he can go. And this is going to be a coin toss. This is either the crown or the floater.
Sure would be spectacular if it was the crown. You do all of the crown quest to get the ruby, the key lock chest that finally has the floater. It's got to be in one of those incentive locations. So, we're really narrowing it down now.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Zalnop making that trip to Ice Cave. Salty heading back down to try and deal with Carrie.
Yeah, Broadster burning off a few random encounters. It looks like the encounter table. I haven't had too much time to study it, but there is a bit of a hero run after a couple of resets for sure, and he's taking advantage of that now.
Yeah, and Fantasy Gamer pointing out that there is one other place that the ruby could be if it's required. Key-locked Marsh. I suddenly have a new thing that I'm pulling for.
Oh, so some other incentive location is locked in Corneria, but just coincidentally, the key-locked Marsh has the ruby that gets you to Sarda that has the incentive floater. That would be in keeping with the theme, and perhaps the most ridiculous sequence of things I have ever seen live.
Yep.
Now we're all
Allie going ahead and poking in Matoya's cave, just finding her life savings. Broadster almost to the friendly neighborhood robot, who I think we're all now pulling for having the crown.
Crown hype, crown. There's also a spike tile, and it could be a doozy. We haven't seen some of the harder enemies, so you never know what's in store here. We're shuffling them good, and we
are spike tiles shuffled?
They seem to have been.
They are indeed, and that's unrunnable cobras.
But they themselves seem to be running away, so not much to worry about here.
I am quaking in the snake in my boot.
A lucky break for Broadster. It's first that's happened now. Do we have the crown or do we have the floater? He's waiting to make us find out.
Aww.
The floater. He's going to warp out of here and head down to that desert so fast and make your head spin.
Well, fortunately, with the expanded open progression on, that's actually not a bad trip. Because he can just go straight up. Actually, he has the canoe. It would have been straight up anyway. Point being, of all the places this could have happened, this was about the best. The dream is dead. Now, I guess at this point, though, we do now know that Sarda has to have the crown. And then Bottle is going to be in the Corneria Treasury. So we got that going for us.
Broadster going for a bit of a trip here.
Well, I think it is faster to go north than it is to go south.
Just a lovely, unusual seafaring voyage. The Kizokus. You never see those guys anymore. When I was a kid, they were the cornerstone of my early game financing.
Well, we probably would still see them, but somebody went and added encounter shuffle. And encounter frequency shuffle.
Yeah, that's true. Might have been me. I don't remember. I had a lot of things, and they don't all make it into the high level play. But here we are. Broadster steps away from the Ryukon Desert and the sweet, sweet sound of the airship music.
Yep. Broadster is airborne, and for all we know, could be one of the first runners to get airborne just by virtue of making, the necessary plays.
Now, what do we do when we get the airship? We go visit Serta. And he does.
Yeah, so I have to wonder how many people would have opted for that waterfall gamble first. Once they pieced together, they had to go find either Crown or Floater out in the Great Wide Wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's a total coin toss. The fire magic can point ordeals, but honestly, it's just sort of a hunch thing. You both should be pretty okay. And now it's time to pillage the Cardi Isles for gear and prepare for the end game. I mean, most of the dirty work is done now. You just have a couple more things to clean up and get ready to start taking down some fiends.
Yeah. Remembering he did get that tail out of the sages, so he's going to go cash that in for some fancy new sprites.
That will get him exit, which, I mean, we're talking, this is early enough game now that it's still pretty useful. So you don't have to burn through all your warp charges to get out of somewhere, or if you don't have enough. So should be okay. It'll let you use all your black magic in places if you have to get in and out.
Yeah, I guess the real quandary if you're one of these runners at this point is, how long it took you to piece the puzzle of the seed together, and you know how fast these seeds go or can go. So
I don't even think everyone's pieced it together yet. I mean, we have the fortune of watching Brock get through it pretty quickly here, but he's really, stretched out a pretty big lead over some of the other people we're watching on stream.
So with everything that's been going on, I've been paying attention to the IRC. In the last 5 minutes, we have had 3 forfeits. Ice Blue, Tyrannix, and Soinrath have all opted to just not bother. Presumably, once all of them realized that this was a forced ship TNT situation, and I assume most of them went to Marsh before Ice, looking for that TNT. So
it's a good time to point out 33 entrants. Again, amongst the biggest races we've ever had as a community. So it's really cool to see how the league can bring all those new players into the game and bring all the old faces back, and yet how it can then show them the door as they're like, oh god, I'm not doing it. So
yeah, now this does have interesting implications for the scoring, though. Since forfeits are discounted first when trimming off the fat to determine the actual range of scores used to calculate your Z-score. So it's one of those things, I think at this point, with the 4 forfeits we've seen, we are very comfortably in the anything from this point forward counts in calculating overall time.
Does that include additional forfeits? They just go in their books as...
Yeah, they just go in the book as 5 minutes after the last person to... done.
Right.
But yeah, every finish from this point forward counts for calculating Z-score. So depending, if what we're seeing on stream is any indication, Broadster is going to improve his time. Just straight up. Even if, only a quarter of racers at this point have pieced together where they need to go and executed and done it, he is still going to improve his Z-score over the last race. Zalnop, though, it looks like, is our second runner to bust out of the Inner Sea, and Ali is right on his heels. Salty, meanwhile, not having visited that ice cave again after his first trip. So that's going to be a complication for him, because he's got to go back there in order to get out of here.
Brock picks up his Mystic Key, completing that long sequence of events. And the first place you get to check is the Elfin Castle itself. Not much in there. Just a little bit of cash and some vendor trash.
So yeah, Brat is going to go ahead and cycle through chests. I have a feeling that if he's got like with a Vorpal, and he was one of the ones who grabbed the Vorpal, right? Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe I'm not sure. Checking the trap tile. It's the old gray W, and
oh well,
no
he
thanks.
also remembered to check the sides. He does not bother to check the sides.
I'm not even sure he checked it on purpose. I think he might have just accidentally walked on it. The hard to say. The dwarf cave here's got a big room, so see if they're hoarding anything good. We haven't really seen a lot of late game equipment, have we? So this this hunting is fully sanctioned.
Yeah, there was a Vorpal in the red. Oh, there's a white shirt.
Yeah, that'll be pretty useful for the invis too.
Yeah, armor wise, I feel like Brat's actually in a decent position. It's not the kind of gear you want to go to the end game with, but you can survive the end game with what he's got in hand. Weapon wise, I don't know if he got down to the red D chest, because that's the only end game sword we've seen so far. For a fighter, anyway.
Picking up some $12,000 pro rings. He's splashing the greens. He's actually only got enough to buy one, though, so that can just tell you like how little encounters have been fought, how few chests have been opened up to now to have such a small amount. Oh, no, pardon me. He has tons of money. I misread a digit, so he's going to buy a set for the whole team.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to supplement, because I feel like as soon as Brat finds a sword that is passable for endgame, he's not going to worry about chests. Just because he knows so many people have lost so much time hunting around, himself included.
So let's walk through the scoring one more time. How many of the forfeits are removed before the calc? Just 4 forfeits, or the 4 scores period?
It is 10% rounded up of the entrance. So because we have more than 30 entrants, that means the bottom 4 scores are the ones that are wiped out. And forfeits are always considered the bottom most. So because we've now had 4 forfeits, anything from this point counts, including other forfeits.
Yeah, we just had Shadowwalker on stream to call him out, say it's interesting that Z scores can incentivize forfeiting to deny others points. And I'm just trying to think, if that were true, you're assuming that you would finish worse than 5 minutes after the worst player anyway.
Correct.
Otherwise it's just the same. It doesn't matter if they're forfeits or not. So I don't think forfeiting is really incentivized.
Really, the incentive for forfeiting is it'll help your team. Like if you feel like, okay, the situation where forfeiting will come in handy, I think, is if you know your forfeit matters, and you see one of your teammates finish fairly high up, and you know it's better than where they finished last time. That would be a situation where you might be incentivized to just go ahead and forfeit, because that improves their Z score and doesn't hurt your Z score.
Theoretically, you could just drag the race out and do extremely poorly, right?
Yeah, you could do that as well, but
you're just going to end up at the bottom and be forgotten anyway, so that doesn't really...
Right.
It's not liable to make a material difference one way or the other, I don't think.
Yeah, you'd have to really drag it out to move the standard deviation enough to matter. But by forfeiting, you are almost certainly going to do worse than you could have.
That's true. And
that is going to have an effect.
All right, I'm glad we broke that down, because I'm sure there were some people watching this going, wait, how does this all work? And then, it really comes down to just the mean and standard deviation statistical analysis and where you fit relative to everybody else and where your team fits relative to everybody else. If you get into the nitty gritty, there's a lot there. But in general, do good, don't forfeit, try to win.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm glad that you understood what I was saying, because I'm not entirely sure that I know what I was just saying. But it sounded smart, so that's what counts. So
it is late, and we've had technical difficulties, so the fact that we're both on point here, it's really a miracle. Zalnop working his way through ordeals. Once again, gonna see tragedy strike as he grabs the loot. Wanted the floater, but he knows where to go next.
Ooh, okay, so Brotzer is now down to that red D floor, and he is going to be able to put that Vorpal on right away. I do not know where he stands in the Great Schism, but he is one of but that Vorpal may be enough for him to say, okay, I'm go mode. But we'll see what happens. Other than that, yeah, like you were saying, Zalnop and Ali both following the same progression of thought that Broadster did of, I need to do ordeals anyway. If it's floater, then I don't have to, keep sailing. If it is floater, if it isn't floater, then I can just keep heading toward waterfall. Salty, on the other hand, is just now finishing up his trip to the bottom of ice. So he now has that TNT in hand, or should have that TNT in hand. And he is going to go ahead and check the ice tile, which is an interesting call. Or that eye tile, my bad.
It is fun how shuffling the trap tiles has people intentionally stepping on them. That's sort of an unintended side effect, but there's some good grinds out there, and now you actually have to go hunting for them. It's interesting to see that happen.
Yeah. But yeah, it is one of those things where I am curious to see who, if anyone, made that waterfall play first. Because they have a huge advantage if someone said, you know what, waterfall's easier than ordeals, I'm going to go do waterfall first.
Yeah, it's a time savings, but compared to the mayhem at the start of the seed, I feel like it's just a couple minutes difference.
I mean, if you think about it, that's time they're not spending sailing between ordeals and waterfall and then sailing back.
True, but it is time they have to spend walking to ordeals, because if you fly there, you have to park pretty far away, and there's a bit of a time loss there.
It's not a big enough time loss to make a difference. When you take into consideration that you have to sail back from ordeals to get to turn in the floater, if it's there, at the end of the day, it is generally faster to manipulate your way to ordeals than it is to sail there. Which is why you very rarely see anyone, when they have access to floater, doing it. So Broadster has his Vorpal sword, so like I said, here's the real question. At that point, do you say, I know that everyone else had trouble with this seed. Do I just take that gamble? Do I just say, I've got an in-game sword, my equipment is decent-ish. Do I want to gamble that this is a paper topher and just beeline for it?
It's a gamble that has paid off many times in the past, and it's also exciting to watch, so I support this plan.
It's the kind of move I'd make, and Broadster is our first on-stream runner to rip through carry with the Vorpal sword, picking up his fire orb. And judging by his movements, I'm thinking he may be heading to... He's going to go turn that... Did he get the slab already? Or is he heading to Earth?
Popping in here for a little...
Yeah, he's heading to Earth.
Yeah, and then off to Earth, yeah. He spent all his money on pro rings, didn't have enough to buy the slab.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Going ahead and burning down his houses to get his heals into a good position.
The slab is a dusty old relic, and then he goes to the other store and he sees these shiny, beautiful rings. Guys, they have magic powers. It's a no-brainer. Of course you buy rings for everybody. Salty turns in the TNT, gets the canal, finally gets out of that awful, awful start. We're actually approaching now, just a couple minutes away from when our dot done to set an impressive sub-hour mark on the first race.
I think we are literally a minute out.
Yeah, and I don't think that came as a bit of a shock, but then there was a huge pack of people that finished in the next, say, 15 minutes or so. I don't think that's going to happen this time, is it?
I think we are going to see a huge pack. I think we are going to see several waves of people. We're going to see people who, if anyone made all the right gambles, like someone went straight to Ice Cave, then went right for Waterfall, we might see if anyone did that, they're gonna finish first. But we're gonna see the folks who, did go for Ice Cave before they went for Marsh, if any of them did that. We're going to see people who, kind of followed Broadster's progression, because those are the only two groups I can see finishing ahead of Broadster, or at least in terms of kind of waves of finishes, is if someone skipped Marsh Cave or someone skipped Ordeals.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're going to have to simultaneously say hi and bye to the vampire, because Broadster dispatched him.
Hi, vampire. Bye, vampire. But yeah, so... yeah, basically, if anyone made the right gambles, I have to agree with Shadow Walker. They're probably going to wind up with ahead of Artea in terms of Z-score, if it's not Artea who made the right gambles.
Of course, right? If anyone can beat the first place finish. So it used to be in the previous league, if you've been a fan for a long time, that the statistical analysis was more humble. And the first place finisher simply got a 0, no matter how quick or long it took. And that was the best you could do. But with the majesty of statistical analysis, now all of a sudden it doesn't just matter if you win, it matters how fast you win compared to everyone else, and the mean time and the standard deviation of those times. And so no matter what, you really don't know until all the dust settles whether or not you made your time better. Unless, of course, you're doing far worse. I mean, I'm not begrudging the people that forfeit because they're off to a bad start. That's just how it happens. This game can be very frustrating at times like that. But when you do finish, you don't really know what score you're going to get until all the numbers shake out. And that's kind of cool, too, because it keeps you on your toes and it keeps it exciting.
Yeah. So just looking at what Broadster is up to, because everyone else at this point is following the progression of logic that Broadster did. He is basically checking high-density locations on his way down. And I expect we're going to see a similar pattern when he gets to Sea Shrine. I doubt he will go to Mermaid's side, but I've been wrong before. But yeah, looking over at chat, I see that Ice Blue did in fact visit Ice Cave at some point. But yeah, so down goes Lich, to no one's surprise. And Broadster is now up 2 orbs, and probably on his way to Gaia to get his Oxyale, and then heading straight into Sea Shrine. It looks like our tracker may be experiencing more electrical issues, which is unfortunate.
I think it's back now.
Yep.
Yeah, we can't seem to escape the gremlins tonight. All right, Broadster flying around a little bit willy-nilly here. There we are. Settling in. Looking for the caravan. Looking for Onrak. Where's he going? Just kind of joyriding for a bit there.
Yep.
Got to let out those frustrations. I don't think he knows how well he's actually doing.
I mean, have you seen this race?
I've watched chunks of it in between technical failures. I think it's a great time to mention, speaking of all the technical people, those failures just only highlight how incredible things normally go, and even the way that we bounced back and got the ship righted tonight as just a testament to everybody involved. So we had to do some people swapping, but I just want to thank Randomania 2 and, of course, the Randomania family for hosting us tonight. Edgeworth for jumping in on backup restreamer. SVJ was our 10th initial streamer. He's now moved to tracking. He apologized to me so many times that I think we're going to give him another chance. Give him another chance to make this right, because the restreamer is the unsung hero of the whole operation. They collect all the streams, they put it together, they take the audio, they multiplex everything and put it back up on Randomania for you with their computer, with their internet connection, and with their weather. And they can't really control when the power goes out, can they? So they don't get their name on anything. They never get the respect or the admiration. But restreamers are really important to this community and to these kind of shows. So thank your restreamer.
Absolutely. But yeah, considering technical difficulties, if anyone watching at home wants to try their hand at tracking, we can get you on board real fast. But in the meantime, Brotzer is on his way to cash in that bottle, get his Oxyale, head on to water. But I do have to agree with one thing you said, Nitz. I don't think Brotzer realizes that, like, he is doing very well if the rest of our restream is any indication. And considering the quality of runners that have already looked at the seed and gone, nope, I would say that he's going to do pretty well overall.
Yeah, he looks to be in a position to put up a pretty good time here. And, just based on the sampling that we've got in front of us, he's got a big lead over the other three. I dilly-dallied a little earlier and checked out some of the other off-stream runners, but there's just so many people to sample, I didn't really have the ability to go and see who was, leading the pack, as it were. That's a bit of a job. So after taking a look around, it seemed to me like Brotzer was as far as anyone I could find. So he's got a shot at winning this race so far. And I don't know how accurate a statement that is. We'll find out soon enough, but hope he doesn't waste too much more time. I'd like to see him take this race home.
Yeah, and I don't think he is. Sorry, just trying to keep him updated until someone hops in. We're looking at most everyone having an airship at this point, right?
Mm-hmm. More Cardia Island treasure. We got an ice sword. No, it's not going to take the place of the Vorpal. Great axe. Best weapon we've seen so far is Vorpal, whether you're on that team or not. No Mass Moon, no Excalibur.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. I will be shocked if anyone else manages to get a in-game Vorpal sword. Or an in-game sword other than Vorpal for their knight.
Brotzer burn off a couple encounters. He's going to go check out the first couple floors of Mirage Tower again, looking for more gear, obviously. Did they go to Waterfall before Ordeals? No one on stream did. Everyone on stream, I think, went to Ordeals first. Walked through the challenges there and found, to their dismay, that they would just get the loot. Then they had to pop over to the Waterfall to get the floater. That's what everyone did, I think, that we saw.
It's the move I would anticipate almost anyone making. Just because, what else are you going to do? You have to go to Ordeals. You know that Waterfall is relatively convenient from Ordeals. And odds are, Ordeals is closer than Onrak when you leave the Inner Sea. So in terms of just playing the odds and also, hedging your bets, that's the progression to make. Because like Tyrannix is saying, you can't do anything in Onrak yet, so there's no point in worrying about it yet. So
Brought reaching the top floor of Mirage Tower. About ready to pop that cube and head up to the Sky Castle. Sky Castle just jammed with chests, so he'll be able to check as many as he wants as far as finding all the gear he's still holding out for him. I think we could still do with... Sorry, we could do with more ribbons. We could do with some better night gear for sure.
Yeah, Zalnop found a second ribbon somewhere along the line. I'm not entirely sure where he went. He may have checked like a... No, I have no idea where he found that ribbon. But he's got a second one.
He does.
Yeah, that being said, with Warp available, checking some of these chests in Sky is a little less of a pain.
According to Edge, it was actually in the eye chest in Ice, right beside the TNT, and we both missed it.
Yeah, apparent. Well, we were so excited about the TNT. And Edgestream / Edgeworth has stepped up to go ahead and handle tracking as well as restream duties. So, shout outs to him for being the hero we needed. So there is an ice sword available in Cardia. So we do at least have a couple of in-game swords available. Ice kind of considered to be the bottom of what you want to take. And there's another ribbon in the greed chests in Sky. So for all of the trouble the seeds handed around, the ribbons are at least generous. Because those are 2 ribbons in locations people are going to check.
Yeah, you can't miss those 4 chests. They're like 2 steps out of the way, and it's just sort of it's the thing you do when you're learning this game. Everyone is like, don't skip those 4 chests, because heaven knows if you do, that's when there's a ribbon in them. Now we've got the big maze floor, but that's not shuffled, so it's a quick trip through here. And then we're under the Bridge of Destiny.
Mm-hmm. So when are we going to see procedurally generated Sky 4 nits?
That's not a hard one to do, Like, that's something we could do soon. There's some experimental procedural generation in the alpha builds of this game right now, if anyone is interested in that kind of thing. But it is a ton of work, so the progress is just kind of at the sampling stage. But I don't want to distract here from the race at hand. But yeah, this floor is so big and empty that generating a maze here would be pretty easy to do, actually.
And it'd be fun. But yeah, so Broadster's about to hit the Bridge of Destiny. Did Ali take a wipe on Carrie? He's going back into Volcano, and I think Carrie might have gotten the better of him.
Magic 8 Ball says all signs point to yes.
Let's see, Salty going through his key quest, so he'll have his bottle in hand soon. I guess he must have hit Ordeals at some point. I admit I was kind of focused on the territory Broadster was crossing. But he seems to have hit a nasty part of the encounter table in terms of getting through Sky 4, because I think he's caught like 5 fights since he got off the teleporter. But regardless, let's get those Bless RNGs out in chat, because we might as well add insult to injury with a War Mech fight.
That's not insult, although it will be injury. It's actually a great honor. I thought it was going to be the first square. That would have been something.
So Salty's got his second ribbon.
A lot of mud goals and sorcerers, not a lot of war mechs. Ooh, unrunnable slimes. These guys can be trouble, but they're worth a ton of EXP.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd say it's worth it, because we haven't even been talking about the key item boost. Because that is also in play, if I recall correctly. Let's see.
Yeah, I just went and checked. So in Stage 1 flags, there's a 5% cumulative bonus to EXP and gold for every key item. There's 21 items identified as such, but they're the things that you expect them to be, like the canoe, the airship, the slab, etc. All the bottle and oxyale, and each one of those things that is basically a progression item of some sort increments this hidden counter. And for every one of those you find, your end of battle golden EXP goes up by 5%. So by the time you're at the end of the game, 5% times, pushing 20 of these things, you're basically doubling your EXP. So it sort of punishes people that try to grind early and rewards you for being able to get more progression items early and postponing your grind to later because it won't take as much time to do. That's kind of the theory. And
yep.
I like the way that it encourages people to be bold and brave early, because it makes that much more tension in the early game.
And we have another forfeit. Magius has decided that he's taken too many TPKs to keep this up. Broadster is through with Tiamat. Bane did not carry the day, but the Vorpal Sword went snicker snack. All that being said, yeah, so this seed is actually very good. Just speaking to what you were talking about, Nitz, for the XP, considering the circumstances.
Yeah, well, it's been punishing in the number of random encounters you had to take early on just to get around, so naturally you'll have some levels by the end if you take a lot of those fights.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about, like, how many key items we had to dig out. All of them.
And some good digging. Some good digging. And Cornelia locked the bottle.
So yeah. At this
Are you
point,
not on the edge of your seat? Well, you don't sound like you're on the edge of your seat.
Dude, it is midnight, and I have not slept well the last 2 days. Like, I had to take a nap earlier just to be able to handle this one. But well, I'm here.
You're here. You don't want any more bears. This is not the bullet seed that it was last night. But even an hour and 15 minutes compared to previous leagues, previous tournaments, is still a pretty short race. And we're talking about it being a brutal one, you know. So the flag set chosen here has led to much faster races. This particular seed, not so much. But we could still be in store for a pretty quick ending once everyone turns on the gas.
Yeah. Question chat, is Vorpal the best they have found? And the answer is yes. Yes, it is.
The answer is it depends who you ask. But on paper, yeah, I believe the Vorpal is the best weapon floating around right now.
Mm-hmm. So Zalnop checking these side rooms that Broadster ran past. Which, it's not that bad a check since he has more than enough warp. Ooh, unrunnable great sharks and this is going to be a lot of experience. But yeah, with warp in hand, checking the first floor of Sky is not the worst that you can deal with. You know, it's not what you're hoping for, but it's not the worst. And yeah, Tyrnex pointing out, we do have access to katanas, and we did have a forced ninja. The only issue is, like, the ninja's not going to get as many swings with the katana as the knight is getting out of that Vorpal. And also ninjas are made of paper. So it's kind of a mixed bag as to whether or not you want to lean on that katana over having at least an ice sword on the knight. Personally, I'd want both, but I'm also bad at this video game.
Some people just enjoy comfort.
I just enjoy not wiping halfway through Topher.
Oh, well. I don't know if there's really anything that can truly prevent that, but you can always try your best.
You can play some pretty conservative strats, and you know, if you don't put all of your eggs in one basket, you're not as strong as you could be, but you can generally, like, survive anomalies and get your party back out there. And there is the Mosmune on Sky 3 in the 6th chest room.
Yeah, Zelnop now got a nice weapon. And this is the kind of thing that can make a big difference if Topher is about as hard as it can be. So we shall
And to
see.
answer the question, chat, Fast is at level 5, it looks like. But yeah, we do have a Mazza available, and Broadster did not pick up that Mazza. He ran right past it. He only grabbed the so-called greed chests.
On the other hand, Broster is on Kraken floor, and not much left separating him from Topher.
Yeah. So It's one of those things, you know, he's got plenty of levels now because of all the experience he's racked up. And wow, Aegis was in. So it turns out that where's all the in-game equipment? Sky 3. Because that is a Maza, a ribbon, and an Aegis shield, all just sitting there.
It's a couple of random odds and sods, really. All right, Brotzer versus Kraken, Part 1.
I cannot imagine this is going to take very long.
Not with Fast.
Not with Fast, Temper, and the Vorpal Sword, and the level 23 or 24 Knight.
8 hits, 700 damage, terminated. No, I guess you're right. That did not take very long. Rodster, 4 light warriors, 4 light orbs lit. Time for the Temple of Fiends revisited.
Correction, that's 3 light warriors and 4 lit orbs.
Yeah. All right.
I'm sorry, that thief still has 50 HP.
Totally has a lit orb. All right. Even if they have to drag him around on like a sled or something.
Yeah, I think that Flame is the best body armor we've seen this seed. Well, there is steel armor available if... Well, no, it's the same as Flame, so... Yeah, no. It's looking like Flame armor is the best they're going to do, but... No, wait, there was an Opal somewhere, wasn't there? Well, regardless, Flame armor is the best you're going to want to put on your Knight. Unless, like, your Knight is the only character still standing. But yeah, at about an hour 20, Brotster is going to be our first on-stream runner to dive into Topher. Tyrannix letting us know that the Adamant is located at Mermaid, so that's our Excal access. Okay, thank you, JLo. I must have missed that. I saw he still had the flame armor, and then I looked away. So, Brotster arrayed about as good as he's gonna get, and getting into a fight with an Akuma.
Instead of running away from the Phantom, which has become popular, he's just going to dispatch this Agama. He almost decided to run away and then thought better of it. Oh,
no, he ran away.
He spared its life. He was going to kill it with his knight, but his Red Range was like, nah.
Good old Team Coin Flip. The alternative to Team Tyro and Team Stake. So let's see. Zalnop is dealing with Tiamat, so... I don't actually know if Zalnop's lit any other orbs yet. I'll admit, I've kind of, Brotster jumped out to that lead, and I, unfortunately, have kind of not been paying as good attention as I should to the other runners. And I do apologize for that. Ooh, there's an RA Glow.
Brotster on the earth floor now.
Medusa's with Dazzle. That is not something you want to see. Fortunately, they don't hit very hard. Alright, so that was Dalnop's first orb, taking out Tiamat. He's probably gonna wind up doing this in reverse order. I'd wager.
You get style points for doing that too. So I mean, if you've come this far, you may as well.
You know what they say, RBO is one of the hardest categories. Little Super Metroid humor for the folks in the audience.
They are howling. Both of them just loved it.
And anyway, judging by what Zardia is saying in chat, I believe we may have some Dragon Warrior fans hopping over to join us in what has been a rather entertaining seed for certain values of entertainment. And which goes down like a sack of wet cement.
Oh yeah, we've had everything on tonight's seed, from technical problems to crazy plot twists to ship and TNT required, sailing halfway around the world, to all manner of nastiness. So the runners who are still in the race, fortunately, no one on stream has been caused to forfeit. So if you're just joining us now, Brotzer in the bottom left corner is on the fire floor of Temple of Fiends if visited. He's got a good shot to take it, certainly among the 4 on stream, but as far as I know, no duns at all, so he might well be leading the pack.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Either he's leading the pack or he is right in the thick of getting a really good time. Carry, too, able to put up a little bit of a resistance here.
Carry 2 striking for several hundred damage. That's not the kind of thing you want to see. If that knight goes down, this mission goes sideways. Another 204, not great. 7 hits, 291, done. Brot using a Vorpal, it's getting the job done so far. He missed the Mass Moon, which was on the floor of Sky Castle that's just packed with chest. It was off to the right. And there was also a ribbon and an Aegis shield in there, all of which he left behind. Not checking those chests. The only thing he got out of the Sky Castle was oh, pardon me, he did find the second ribbon.
Yeah, he did find the ribbon. That was in the greed chests.
So he's taking on the final floors here with 2 ribbons and very little real endgame gear. The Vorpal Sword an exception, depending on your opinion of that much talked about blade in recent months.
Yeah. So for those of you who are coming over from Dragon Warrior and didn't watch the first race of the league, which is entirely possible. So this is a 33-person race currently going on SRL. Brotzer, who you see in the bottom left corner, is, if not the front runner, at least among probably the first runners to potentially finish. And the way that we are handling scoring this time around, as opposed to last league, where it was basically whoever finishes first sets the pace. This is a much more statistically complicated but fair setup, where your score in a given race is dependent on how everyone else who's involved in that race performed. This particular seed had basically 2 loose items you had to find before you could even go hunting for the rest of the required items. And more or less, you got your head handed to you by a lot of stuff. Speaking of getting your head handed to you, Kraken taking out that red mage and getting Vorpal back.
Red mage does exactly what his job was. Takes the Kraken hit so that the knight can Vorpal Kraken. And now we are down to the final 2 bosses and the final 2 light warriors. Can this knight by the name of Brot and a black wizard by the name of Wins do just what their names would suggest?
This would be amazing if it comes down to him winning with the team of Brot Wins. And Tiamat goes down like tissue paper, so if Brot isn't in first, this is going to be a photo finish between him and whoever finishes. But we may very well be seeing first place here in the bottom left corner as we go to Chaos. And he's going to go ahead and bust out that white shirt, get that fast on that knight. I don't hate the move he went with. That knight's going to be able to survive hits better than the black mage, and he needs that black wizard alive for the first 2 rounds. And, of course, this is the moment my stream opts to freeze up. Nitz, can you take over while I refresh?
What do you think my stream's doing? No, we've got a temper coming off of Wins. 1 frame at a time, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we like to deliver it. Weapons are stronger. Chaos with stun.
Yeah, I like to call that extreme slow motion.
It doesn't work. Another temper. You can really appreciate the background flashing when you get this kind of animation, right? Brot striking at Chaos.
That's a lot of damage.
297. He's down to just Brot the Knight. The Wins is go. Could that mean what it symbolically means?
Well, let's find out as we continue to see the slow motion play and terminated.
Terminated.
Broadster finishes in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 42 seconds. Holy cow.
How awesome is it? 33 entrants, and the first place champion is on stream. That's fantastic. And that's a great show, and I hope everybody enjoyed that. First place to Broadster, once again, 1 hour, 27:42. All right. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Zelnop on Kraken 1, Salty Fry approaching Kraken 1, and Ali Jabrap in the Sky Castle. So that just tells you just how brutal this seed was for Brock to carve out that much of an advantage. And it really stemmed from the fact that he got off to what he probably thought was not that great of a start. We'll see what happens when we get him in for chat. I'd love to hear his thoughts on this, but was by far the best. He made that ice dive before anyone else was really thinking about it, and he was out of there with the TNT when most people were still realizing that's what they had to do. So congratulations on him for some excellent routing early game that led to enough of a lead that he obviously was able to carry right through to victory.
Absolutely, and I can't help but think that those Aw, puppy. All right, so let's see here. Let's look at the other racers now. In all that excitement, I hate to think we left anyone out. So I think Zelnop is sitting on 2 orbs now. Went ahead and took care of business with Kraken, and looks to be heading for Earth next. Maybe, yeah, Earth. So say bye-bye to RBO. But hello to Vampire in, like 3 or 4 minutes. Yeah, we got Salty heading down to Kraken floor now, and Ali looks to be on the Bridge of Destiny, I think. Update from off stream. We do have a couple of other runners heading for that Chaos fight, and they should be able to handle it. And I'm going to go ahead and pull Broad in. 1 second. Hey, Broad. GG.
Thanks. That was, I would say that's 99% luck, 1% more luck.
I mean, you made a number of good calls, and from what we can gather, and no one else made a better call.
That would make sense. Since, yeah. So, the no heal pots going to Volcano was pretty ridiculous. I didn't realize it. I'm pretty tired, and I didn't realize I didn't have any health pots. But this whole seed was just ridiculous.
It was indeed. So, from your perspective, there's just the race. We also had technical difficulties. Stream came down. Stream had to come back up. We had to figure out what was happening. And when we came back, like, everyone's still around Crescent Lake. Some people were grinding. Some people were making decisions to go, like, look around for stuff. So when did you fully realize you're like, oh, I got to start diving loose chests? Where am I going to start?
So after, I think it was Crescent Lake, when I was like, where is the next key item? And then started to realize, oh, it's probably, you have to go search places, right? So that's why I leveled up a bit, because I figured that I would have to dive something, right? And then when I went to Volcano first and I got the ship, I realized going down I didn't have any health pots. So I was like, well, I'll try and get out. And then I died. And then I was like, well, I'm quite confident that you need the ship, right? So I went back in, tried it one more time. I was going to go get health pots if I died again. Got out and decided, well, the chances that the TNT was in those remaining chests, it was just a percentage thing at that point. I was like, okay, well, I gotta go get health pots and then dive somewhere else. Just because of the, like I said, the percentages of chests and having warp and the fact that Ice Cave is closer, I decided to go there second, and then obviously I got very lucky with that. The only other place after that would be like Marsh or like fingers crossed that it's not like Mid-Toyers or the Dwarf Cave, right?
Yeah.
Somebody gets it like super early and I'm just embarrassing myself.
Yeah, I
going
bet a
to
lot
Ice
of people
Cave.
were thinking that. We were speculating that it might have been hidden in the dwarf cave or something like that. But no, you found it where you did, and you are obviously one of the first people to do so. First we know of, anyway.
Yeah,
And-
you were in the airship while most of the other runners on stream were just realizing they had to go to ice. So just as a quick update for folks watching the VOD later, Fuchsia Fantasy and Minochi have finished. Fuchsia finished at 1:32.59. Minochi 22 seconds behind at 1:33.21. So those are our top three, finishing roughly the time that the like bottom third were starting to wrap up of the last race.
Yeah, the last race was such a tight, like, even from first to everyone that didn't forfeit was pretty quick. There were a few stragglers, but there was a huge chunk of people that were like within 20 minutes of the champion.
Lord Fizzlebeef just came forth. Sorry to interrupt.
No
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, Lord Fizzlebeef at 1:34.43. So people like you still, even with everyone else wrapping up, that's still like a 5-minute advantage over everyone else. Of course, I think everyone else had much better equipment going into Topher.
Yeah, you were a bit shoestring on the Topher thing. Where like he's checking chess, and then you found the ribbon in the free room there on Sky 3.
Sky 3.
The last place you can get chests.
Yeah. So you want to do you want to know what was in the other two rooms on Sky 3?
Probably Dragon Armor, Aegis Shield, and Mass Moon? I don't know.
2 for 3. Dragon Armor wasn't on floor 3, but the other two were.
Yeah. Of course, right?
Well, the fact that you asked that question makes me feel like, obviously there's something good there.
Yeah.
But, it's hard because at that point, like I have Opal Bracelet, and I knew I could buy gold bracelets, obviously. I just process elimination. I knew they were. So I was like, well, there comes a time where you just have to go for it, right?
You knew you were enough with the Vorpal and a couple of ribbons. You didn't need no waste of time. And it turned out to be absolutely right. I love how you shed party members as you were working your way through Topher. The Topher strategy of putting the red wizard up ahead to take the Kraken hit, so that you could take down Kraken, and then you showed up to Tiamat with just Brought and Wins, and then you I don't know if you noticed that, but your party was called Brought Wins, and you beat Tiamat, and then you got to Chaos, and then Wins died, and I was like, uh-oh.
That's pretty funny, yeah. But Wins is short for Winston.
No, it's short for Brought Wins.
Okay, sorry, my mistake, yeah.
Give me
Brought
this.
Wins.
Death of the author, Brought Death of the author.
Yeah, for sure. I do have to say, I much prefer a seed like this over just how fast can I just get my levels and go win. Like most of the seeds that I've practiced with stage 1, and I'm sure most people would say the same thing, it's pretty linear to a degree, right? You go here, you go here, you go here, and then you finish the game, right? When it's something like this, right, you have to make decisions and guessing right, guessing wrong. Like, do I need to keep searching for better equipment, or do I just need to go? Like I much prefer something like this over your vanilla just go A to B as fast as you can.
So, I have to agree. I think just it's more entertaining to have that tension of, well, where is it going? But I just have to point out, we're about to see all three of the other restreamed runners hit Topher at almost the same time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, they all just lit their fourth orb. They're all just gearing up for the Topher dive. This is about to get really entertaining.
And if that's true of these three, how many other people in what we're going to now call the middle of the pack are all going to hit Topher, like, within a minute of each other? Because, if we go back to SRL, there's still a lot of people that are racing this race. We're not used to this in FFR. Like, I've covered so many intimate races that had, 10 people, a dozen people. That was a big race. And to have 30s, in the 30s, both the first race and this one is really exciting. Like, it just creates so much more bignitude. It embiggens the race.
Yeah, no, we are only 6 people have posted a dot done at this point, with Romulus and Elastoid taking 5th and 6th. Yeah. So this is, you could very easily wind up with a very good Z-score just by posting a time here in the next few minutes.
Yeah, we've got 6 people who have finished.
Make that 8. High Spirits and Wappy finish within 2 seconds of each other to take 7th and 8th.
Brilliant. Okay, so 8 finished, 5 haven't, of 33, 5 forfeited. That brings us down. There's still 20 people in flight. And we'll keep you posted as much as we can on the off-stream runners, but we're going to focus on the people we've got on stream.
Wappy apparently failing to type dot done quickly enough. This is why, folks, you have that dot done at the ready.
Which I didn't do. Oops.
Well, you had the luxury, Mr. Going fast.
Yeah, Mr. 5 minutes ahead of second. Like it ain't no thing. Who needs Masamoon?
Massa what? I had 2 katanas, just hanging out.
Yeah, I'm sure that they made that thief you were dragging behind you look very pretty. Our league director, Ichben Maya, gets 9th place.
I have to say I'm pretty happy that one of the 4 of us finished first that were showcased. Obviously, I'm more excited it was me. But it's nice to see somebody on the stream do that. I don't know. Like if it was I'm sorry, I'm really tired. If it was Salty or one of the other runners, then that would be just as good. It's just, it just showcases
yeah,
everything. I don't know.
In the past, when the races were smaller, we would sometimes poke behind the curtain and see who else was in first. I tried briefly. I'm like, you know what? Forget this. I can't sift through 27 streams to find out who's going to win. We're just going to have to assume that since no one has posted a time, Brat's got a shot, and you did it. So you're right. It was awesome for it to happen on stream.
So I'm in the stream now, and Tyranix asked me, what am I picking? I totally forgot that I have the luxury to pick.
I think it's more of an honor and a great
I think
responsibility.
It's more of an obligation.
Yeah, the admins will find you if you don't, so I guess it really does.
The admins have already found you. What are you talking about? I'm right here.
Well, I mean physically. They will find you.
What makes you think that I'm not talking about physically? I could be on my phone. Anyway, we do have Artea posting a 10th place finish as Salty Fry blasts through Lich 2 and is all ready to carry 2. Zalnop opting to back out probably needs to go revive someone. And Alliger Brap is about to take on his Lich 2. So Alliger Brap is about to be taking on his Carry 2.
Alright, Zelnot back into Topher. Salty Freya on Carry 2. Ali G taking on Lich 2.
Have you guys noticed if any of the fiends had, who had the nasty stuff? Because I feel like it was relatively tame for me, other than Kraken
everything. Oh, I don't think I saw it. We've seen anything nasty. Like Kraken obviously took out your red wizard, but other than that, it's been pretty benign.
Everything got shuffled to Warmech.
Everything got shuffled to like the rest of that seed.
Yeah,
like even I believe it was Ice Cave. Was it Ice Cave? There was like I did find Death Touch somewhere. I can't remember what had it.
we might have missed that, but I can totally believe that Ice Cave had Death Touch.
I think Ice Cave had Death Touch because yeah, I'm pretty sure because in my head I commented to myself like, of course, the one time you come here, it's like they had and I think Werewolves had Crack or something as well.
Yeah, Edgeworth seems to think it might have been iguanas.
Okay.
Yeah, all I had to see of Ice Cave to know it was going to be a problem was Lit 2 and Glare or Gaze or one of those. Trance. That's it. Lit 2 and Trance were both floating around on the zombie hordes.
Alright, Salty getting in there on some Kraken 2 action. He's got lots of layers of the white shirt on.
There was 2 or 3 times I fought a gray shark and 2 of the big eyes, and I was so tempted to fight them. So that's the other thing too, because like going in with lower gear, no heal spells. Like part of me was thinking I'd need to get more levels but it's managing how many pots you had left. I actually had I think quite a bit left, but yeah, just wanting to get that fight and then fighting against that because of the time. Like, I just think this whole seed was just interesting.
It was strangely front-heavy in its challenge, that's for sure. This Topher is proving to be nothing more than a welcome mat for everyone in here. Oh no! Takes out Run. I guess I spoke a little too soon. Apologize, Salty, for the commentator curse. But he should be able to defeat Chaos, who we know has not been super brutal. Let's see how this goes with just one fighter and one red mage remaining. Oh, check that. Salty actually had life on that red wizard, so... Oh, boy.
Convenient.
Yes,
and
nuclear.
There's nuclear on Chaos.
Huh.
Yeah, the stream was a little bit choppy when you went through Broad, so we didn't get to see a lot of what Chaos had.
We say choppy. It was like you and Chaos, just you. that was pretty much how choppy it was.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we're back. We can actually see Salty take on Chaos for real. After that initial nuclear, looks like not much left in the tank here.
Yeah, he weathered the storm pretty well, and he should be dunning any moment now. In the meantime, though, Silverfire is going to snipe him. They have posted a 12th place finish, and I missed it, but Leggy Starscream came in 11th. And wait. Oh, Leggy... Sorry, there's been a little bit of complication, but Tristal has finished in 11th, Leggy in 12th, Silver in 13th.
Another white shirt, another heal 2, and an attack, presumably from Tank down there. Salty got a pretty straightforward strategy. That should just about do it. We know that Chaos doesn't have too much HP here.
Yeah, this is almost a formality. Oh, he gets another nuclear out. But it's not enough.
That's the swan song. Salty takes it down.
GG, Salty.
In the meantime, Alligator Brap made it to Chaos.
I always got a full party gets a fast off from that Black Wizard before it's inevitable death. But also there to cast Temper too. So that fast and that Temper can make a big difference even in those first 2 turns.
All right, so it looks like life was at level 4. So there you have it. Yeah, Salty is going to finish with an official SRL time of 1 hour 47. And let's see, Zalnop is almost to this Kraken too, and we're going to see if Ali can finish this up real quick, and then we'll get them both with 800 hits, 800 damage. Okay, yeah, Ali Gerbrap finishes right behind Salty, about a minute behind. So we'll see if we can pull these two in here, and we're going to go ahead and ask for your final thoughts, Broadster.
Were you talking to me? Sorry, I was distracted.
Yeah, I was going to say, any final thoughts?
Yeah. Roadhouse.
Thank you. I was going to be disappointed otherwise. So yeah, get on out of here. We got to get 2 more people in here. Have a good night, man.
Get some sleep.
All right, cheers. Thanks.
All right, Zalnop takes care of Kraken 2. On to Tiamat 2 with still all 4 Light Warriors standing.
Yeah, in the meantime, Tarnin has come in 16th place with about a minute or so behind Ali. So that's kind of what we were saying is, you get a lot of these, kind of coming in waves.
Yeah, you always expect with something roughly normally distributed like this that there's always going to be that big sort of bell of people in the middle, and we're right in the center of it now where all the times are coming in like within a minute or so. And we still have, almost another 15 to go.
I think it's closer to 10 because, as you point out, we did have a bunch of forfeits. So yeah, we are on the back half of the pack now, but they're close together enough to where it's not going to matter too much in terms of the Z-score calculation.
Have we got Salty or Elijah?
Neither of them have said anything yet. I'm going to keep an eye on things there. But in the meantime, Zalnop still has all 4 Light Warriors up coming out of Tiamat. So he should have almost no trouble wrapping this one up. Because as we saw, this Chaos mostly just has nuclear and not a whole lot else. Not a lot of hits, not a lot of damage. You just have to survive its artillery fire.
And there it comes. Zalnop taking the straightforward plan of attack, fast. The Black Wizard dies before he gets the fast off on the Knight, and that's the real tragedy here, because the Knight probably the harder hitter of the 2.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where, even without fast, you've got enough hits coming out of that Knight to where Chaos is not going to last very long.
No, this is looking good. It's got a nice little party, actually has balanced. It's good having 2 reasonable attackers, too. Gives you a little bit of robustness if things go sideways, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Layers on another Temper. This Knight should really be able to carve now. 4 hits, 306. Chaos fights back, 2 hits for 100. He's almost in danger of getting nucleared now with only 363, but should still be okay.
Yeah, there we go. 700 damage.
That'll be okay.
Yeah, that's going to put Zalnop finishing in 18th place because about 6 seconds before he could not done, Sho Fukumachi landed in 17th. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull Salty Fry in and see if Zalnop also wants to join us. Hey, Salty, GG.
Thanks. That was interesting, to say the least.
Interesting is definitely an adjective.
Yeah, it was quite the grind to get started there. It really took a little while to get going. Once you got going, I guess it seemed alright, but until you got going there, it was quite the battle, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was a nasty one with the required ship and TNT, and they were scattered too between the volcano, the ice cave. There's also that like the temptation to go to Marsh, which had really a ribbon and not much else to worry about. But once everybody did that, the rest of it sort of came together pretty quick. It felt like, and you finished. You know, of the finishers, there was a lot of forfeits, at least 6 people at present. But of the finishers, you're sort of right in the middle of the pack. How do you feel this went? Did you race the first race? How do you feel this went in comparison?
This definitely went worse than my first race. The first race went pretty good for me overall. This one here, I don't know. It was kind of iffy from the beginning. I just kind of played it out just for the hell of it, just more for the experience than anything at this point in time. I'm not one that just kind of gives up usually. I tend to play it out unless I really get stuck somewhere for the most part.
Yeah, so the question I guess that needs to be posed is, how far did your stomach drop when you realized that Ice Cave had, A, that you needed ship TNT, and B, that Ice Cave was where it was?
It was definitely a little depressing since I'd been there already and tried to get through there and failed miserably. At least I kind of left before I threw myself at it too much, I guess. I didn't waste a ridiculous amount of time at it. I kind of knew that this wasn't going anywhere, so I had to get out of there and try something else at that point in time.
Yeah, it's one of those things. We saw how rough the how rough the enemy skills and spells were in that ice cave on your stream, actually. So it was understandable that you wanted to go somewhere else, and then you just kind of got dragged back in.
Yeah, eventually I had nowhere else to go, right? I went around to Marsh, and then I kind of circled back around to Volcano and full cleared all it, and then yeah, I'm like, well, all right, back to ice it is. By then, at least I had some more levels and some better gear, so that kind of helped make it a little easier. A ribbon helped a little bit with some of those skills.
And I see that Ali has, okay, I see that everyone has gotten dragged in here. I was trying to keep things a little more orderly, but hi, Ali. Hi, Zalnop. GG.
GG. Thanks.
I was going to pull y'all in one at a time, but I guess we can just be adults.
That's fine.
So yeah, I guess since we're already talking to Salty about it, what were your thoughts when you realized what kind of seed this was and where the TNT had to be?
I had practiced one of these seeds before. It happened in one of the practice seeds, and so I should have been more prepared for it than I was. I tend to get lost sometimes, and I don't have the best execution, but yeah, it was definitely one of those slightly trollier seeds.
About the only thing it didn't do was have Ruby at Waterfall.
Or have something crazy behind the Ruby, because I did find the Ruby.
Well, if Ruby had been at Waterfall, that would have meant Sarda had the floater.
Yeah. I believe Ruby was in second floor Mirage.
Yeah, it was. It was in Greater Land, less than on the left, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped checking chess once I had the floater. I was like guessing. I got enough. I've got Vorpal, Katana, 2 ribbons. That should be good enough.
Yeah, that's how I think a lot of people played this. I think about the only improvement Broadster had on that was he picked up pro rings for everyone and had the opal bracelet for his knight.
After last seed, I didn't want to do Temple of Fiends again without a better weapon than Katana, so I kept checking chests to find Mazmoon, so I found a lot better gear, I think. But it did cost me time.
Yeah, I felt I went to Marsh early, and it paid off for the ribbon, but aside from that, I was like, okay, there's no ship or TNT there, so I'm probably behind. But I think it helped because I didn't have to if I went ice first, but I don't think people would go ice first. But if you went ice first, you probably have troubles because like you have to actually dive to the bottom to see what's there. But I think probably a lot of people saw the ship before the TNT.
Yeah, I know Broadster at least went to ice early. We had some technical difficulties at the beginning of the stream, so I didn't see. You know what? He's still in the waiting room. Let me see if he's still around. Hey, Broadster, you still with us? You know what? He's still in the waiting room. Let me see if he.
It's just the vestigial remains of Broadster's internet connectivity. Should probably cut him loose.
Yeah, I'll throw him back into the waiting room. All right. So anyway, I don't know if he went to marsh at all, but yeah, he hit ice about the time the rest of y'all were still digging marsh. He did at least go to Elfland, so he had that warp, so he was able to just kind of drop in, get it. Okay.
I'm here. What's up?
Okay, so did you ever actually go to Marsh? Because that was during our technical difficulties period.
No, I did not go to Marsh.
So yeah, basically that is the time difference. Is Brat went to ice before Marsh and got what he needed and never set foot in Marsh.
I full cleared ice, by the way. Apparently that was a mistake. So, but
yeah,
I did that.
I did actually forget to ask about that. Were you like looking for the ruby or gear?
Gear. Like, I thought I was already there, and it was actually, despite like the beginning fight with the death touch or whatever, it was actually pretty easy to get down to the TNT. So I figured I might as well check the rest. And yeah.
All right, so I was going to say, Zalnop, I know you found the Mazamune because that's the only reason we know where the Maza was.
Yes, I did find Masa, yes.
Did anyone else find anything better than like Vorpal, Opal Bracelet, Pro Ring, maybe Aegis and Maz if you dug out Sky 3?
I was
gonna say, you're pretty much just asking if anyone found Dragon Armor or Aegis Shield.
Yes! Yes, I want to know where the Dragon Armor was. We have a shiny new Dragon Armor button, and we didn't get to use it.
I did not find the Dragon Armor, but I did find the Aegis Shield, and I did find all 3 ribbons, so...
Yeah, 2 of those ribbons were free.
Yes.
That was
find
crazy.
the 3rd one.
Because, yeah, the 3rd one was in Marsh, but, oh, good lord. This seed was a thing.
I love it.
Yeah, we have had, excuse me, sorry. Kyokatsuki, post a forfeit, and Soltikar has taken 19th place. So we're getting down to, kind of the back half of the pack at this point.
Edge Figaro wants a 30-second rundown of the seed. Does somebody want to take that?
A 30-second rundown. Well,
okay, 30-second rundown.
The first thing that happened is that the power went out, and nobody saw what happened for the first few minutes. But there was
okay, Nitz, you are talking way too slow. Let me give this a shot. Power went out. We didn't see what anyone had, but we found out what they had later on. We decided to go and we discovered that ship and TNT were required in order to progress the sea. We found both of them in very inconvenient places. We proceeded to then have to sail around to Waterfall by way of ordeals because no one's going to go to Waterfall first. We found what we needed in Waterfall, which was the float. We take the float, we start flying around. Everything else is pretty straightforward from there because everything else we knew where they was, with the bottle in Corneria, the crown at Sarda, and Fetch NPCs unshuffled. No one had any good equipment. We did find a Vorpal at one point. We found a Mazamune somewhere else, or Zalnop did anyway. We wound up heading over to Topher with pretty scant equipment. Fortunately, it turned out that Topher was more or less paper, with Chaos having nuclear and literally nothing else, and Broadster won.
Roadhouse.
I think that was 30 seconds.
That's pretty good.
There was a lot of times when you said we found it somewhere, and I feel like I don't know if that's much of a recap. It's like, yeah, there was like things.
He
in
had
places.
30. He gave me 30 seconds. I hit the highlights.
All right, no. It sounded
Anyway,
good. It
but yeah,
sounded good.
It's one of those things. Like I want to ask what else everyone thought, but I think we kind of have a good idea of what everyone thought about that seed. It was garbage, and there is a salty run back about to go on. If anyone's still awake.
I think the 5-second recap is robot head floater, and that's all you really need to know.
It's actually a really good point.
Would be interesting to mention, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Broadster. You still have to figure out who the forced party member is.
I do. I don't have to pick right away, though.
No, you can drag this out like Edgeworth did and really kind of make it like a high society thing. You should totally do that. You should go back
there
and
should be a rule.
input.
There should be a rule in place, maybe after this round, of if the order of first place people have to pick in that order, right? And the only reason I'm saying that is because whoever picks last has the most power, right? Do you know what I mean? They can
basically.
They can sculpt the team the way they want it, right? So if I just wait, I potentially can be a troll or pick what's catered to my play style.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much.
So let me know if I'm allowed to do that or not. I have an idea. I can tell you what it's not going to be. It's not going to be black belt.
Yeah,
and it's not going to be thief either.
Chat is saying you do have to pick before Saturday. But yeah, so I guess we probably need to start wrapping up here. So yes, Nitz, I saw you making the sign in PMs, and I actually was going to say that before you said anything. So yeah. But how about we just go ahead?
That absolutely wasn't necessary. That's all I'm saying.
Broadster, we already got your final thoughts. Roadhouse.
Roadhouse won. I did not win. Roadhouse won.
So
I'm a team player.
That's I guess we'll just kind of go through the finishing order then. Salty, your final thoughts?
Not too much to say about that. Just GG. Thanks for the restream, and best of luck going forward, guys.
All right, Allie.
It was fun. I mean, it was my first race, and like I didn't like really where I was, but I felt good about my play tonight.
Yeah. No, none of y'all have anything to feel ashamed about. Y'all put up a good show. The fact that all three of you who weren't Broadster hit Topher at the same time was just great. And Zalnop.
I feel like I can still improve greatly overall, but I just want to say show for sniping me. I'll get you next time.
A healthy attitude to take. Before we sign off, Antlers did just post the 20th place time. And there's still a few good runners out